For more than 5 decades, Goldie Hawn has seemed like the embodiment of warmth and joy. The sparkling, good-natured comedian with the infectious laugh, who looks as if she couldn't possibly dislike anyone. But behind that sunny image is a woman with firm boundaries, sharp instincts, and zero tolerance for bad behavior, especially from powerful men in Hollywood, and over the years, she has quietly formed strong negative opinions about 5 major actors whose conduct crossed lines she considers non-negotiable. 1. Chevy Chase. When audiences watched Foul Play back in 1978, they saw pure magic between Goldie Hawn and Chevy Chase. The film earned more than $50 million. Critics praised their chemistry, and fans adored how naturally the two played off each other. But behind all that effortless charm was a working relationship that left Goldie frustrated, exhausted, and determined never to repeat it. People close to the production say the trouble started immediately. Chevy had a notorious habit of strolling onto set late, sometimes hours late. And for Goldie, who treats punctuality and preparation like sacred duties, this wasn't just inconsiderate, it was disrespect in its purest form. And that was only the beginning. Chevy, fresh off his success from Saturday Night Live and enjoying a booming film career, reportedly let his ego run the show. Between takes, he'd critique Goldie's delivery, offer unsolicited notes, and act as though he were coaching her, even though she had already won an Academy Award and he was still relatively new to film acting. Crew members recalled the atmosphere as tense and unpredictable, because Chevy could be warm and hilarious one moment and icy or condescending the next. The breaking point came during a complex comedic sequence. After numerous takes, director Colin Higgins said they finally had it. But Chevy loudly insisted they redo the scene, suggesting Goldie had missed comedic beats. She kept her cool publicly, but later confided to her agent, "I love the character, but not the man." In the decades since, she has stayed polite about him in interviews, but her actions speak louder than words. She has used her quiet influence to ensure their professional paths don't cross again. 2. Bill Murray. Unlike with Chevy Chase, Goldie Hawn and Bill Murray never starred in a film together, and that was completely intentional on her part. Throughout the 1,980 seconds and early 1,990 seconds, studios repeatedly tried to pair these two comedy powerhouses, and several projects even reached advanced negotiation stages. But every single time, Goldie declined. Her reason? Reports she heard from people she trusted, especially stories from the 1,991 production of What About Bob? Goldie has always done her homework before accepting a role, and the stories that came back about Murray's behavior raised every red flag she had. Crew members described dramatic mood swings, moments where he'd be charming and cooperative, followed by hours of cold dismissiveness. But what disturbed Goldie most were accounts of how he treated women on set. One young female assistant reportedly made a small scheduling mistake, and Murray berated her so harshly in front of everyone that she burst into tears. When another woman tried to defend her, Murray allegedly turned that same fury on her. Goldie's reaction was immediate. "I don't do bullies," she supposedly told her team. From that moment on, any project involving Murray was automatically off her list. Her stance is even more remarkable, considering it came decades before Hollywood began openly discussing hostile work environments and abusive behavior. Goldie didn't wait for a movement, she simply refused to put herself in an unhealthy situation. 3. Donald Sutherland. Goldie's dislike for Donald Sutherland wasn't based on personal mistreatment. It came from watching how he treated someone she loved. In the 1,970 seconds, her close friend Jill Clayburgh was filming a project with Sutherland, and Goldie often visited the set. What she saw there left her furious. Sutherland is undeniably brilliant, but according to those who witnessed him behind the scenes, he wielded his intelligence like a weapon. He'd drop references to obscure philosophers or novels, waiting for others to fall behind. With men, this behavior felt arrogant. With women, it came across as condescending, almost calculated. Jill, who was a Yale graduate and incredibly smart, initially held her own. But whenever she challenged Sutherland's opinions, witnesses said he'd suddenly shift into a cold, dismissive mode. He talked over her, contradicted her in front of the crew, and once criticized her interpretation of a scene so harshly that she was visibly shaken. Afterward, Goldie, ever protective of her friends, was outraged. She reportedly told Jill afterward, "He has the emotional warmth of a marble statue. No one deserves to be treated that way." Goldie then made a silent vow. She would never work with him, and she stuck to it, even turning down an early 1,980 seconds romantic comedy once she learned Sutherland was being considered. This was one of the earliest examples of Goldie's behind-the-scenes integrity. When someone mistreated a woman she cared about, she walked away without hesitation. 4. Mel Gibson. By the early 2000s, Goldie Hawn had earned enough power in Hollywood to choose her collaborators carefully. So, when Mel Gibson's 2006 DUI arrest became public, and with it, the anti-Semitic remarks he made to the officer, Goldie took it deeply to heart. Her father was descended from Jewish immigrants, and although she rarely discussed her heritage publicly, those close to her say it's an important part of her identity. Gibson's comments weren't just offensive, they were personal. In 2007, a major studio began developing a romantic comedy for older audiences and wanted Goldie and Gibson as potential leads. The script was good, the paycheck big, but Goldie made her stance clear. If Gibson was attached, she wasn't. She delivered her decision quietly and professionally, telling a close friend later, "Forgiveness is spiritual, but he never asked for it." There's a difference between a mistake and a revelation of character. To this day, she has kept a respectful distance from him, both publicly and privately. 5. Steve McQueen. Some people destroy their chances with Goldie over months. In the late 1,970 seconds, her team arranged a meeting between Goldie and McQueen to discuss a potential action comedy. On paper, they seemed like a perfect match, her lightness balancing his intensity. But according to Goldie's inner circle, she left the dinner drained, unsettled, and completely sure she never wanted to share a set with him. From the start, McQueen barely made eye contact with her. He directed most of his conversation at the producers and talked about his vision for the film while ignoring her creative input. When she finally offered an idea for a scene, McQueen dismissed it with, "Let's get the structure right before we worry about the little details." Worse, Goldie watched him speak to the restaurant staff with cold detachment, and if there's one thing she cannot stand, it's someone who treats service workers poorly. On the ride home, she reportedly said, "He stared through me like I was invisible, and he wasn't even kind to the waitress. I'm not spending months on set with that energy." The project was dropped soon after, and Goldie never reconsidered.